One of the top nationalities that's crazily looking for a second passport. A lot of Germans are actually trying and purchasing passport from Africa, like Sao Tome and Principe. I'm not making this up. They're desperately trying to seek a second citizenship. I'm going to discuss the mistakes that some are making. What is the best passport for a German citizen, which is a second passport that a German should quickly acquire or should think about quickly acquiring. I'm also going to discuss a couple of tax holidays where you pay 0% taxes for years, for decades, where of course is going to reduce your immediate burden. You're going to go down from a 45% catastrophic killer to a 0% structure if you structure this correctly. But that's going to be in the second half, the passport and the tax holiday, and one of the most beautiful, safe and friendly country for Germans to move to for a backup, for a plan B. That's in the second half of the video. But in the first half, I wanted to spend some time look at the top 5 reasons why Germans are fleeing as we speak. A lot of people from third world countries dream of entering Germany because they have no clue of the life inside. The grass is always greener on the other side. They desperately try to move in to make money. But let's say you're on the other side, you already have the money, then you exactly know what it means to be in that territory. And in case you're new here and if you feel that this channel adds any value to your decision making, then please go ahead and turn on that subscription if you haven't already. It helps me get you breaking news on time, launch of new programs, and I promise you, you would be the first one to be notified. So the first big reason, of course, is the obvious one, is the tax burden. Now, Germany obviously extracts every penny out of you in terms of taxation. There is no escape. Germany maintains one of the highest tax wedges in the OECD for single workers. Of course, if you're doing some sort of a job, they're going to extract that out of you. It's one of the highest, and we're going to get to that in a second here. Higher salary thresholds for social security contributions further reduce net pay. Cold progression effect, nominal wage increases are eaten up by the higher tax brackets. Now, this is a big one. Typically, when you have a pay raise, you're happy because you're earning more money. But what happens is quickly you don't realize behind the scenes, your tax bracket has suddenly changed. So you might end up paying more in taxes and receiving less as compared to before, while you're thinking you're happy that you got a pay increase. So you got to be, sometimes you get fooled by the system. So you got to be very careful with that. And that practically affects a lot of people, sensible or smart people. When they go back and check their bank balance and see how much they have saved, they get the brutal answer. So that's reason number one. The 2 is the wealth lock. Let's say you're on the other side, you're not a salaried employee, you have your business, you're locked in, you're solid, you're fused in, you can't leave the system. It's de-incentivized to leave the system. Moving abroad has become a deemed sale event, right? So what happens is there's effective wealth confiscation mechanism which prevents founders and investors from relocating capital, forcing them to liquidate or stay trapped in a high tax regime. It's pretty self-explanatory. Number 3 is relentless inflation. No matter how much you earn, good luck trying to beat this curve. This curve is just going up, shooting up. So the inflation is going to eat up in any monetary gains. It's a cat and mouse game at best, is what I can say. Number 4 is now really bothering a lot of people. Germany isn't doing anything good to stop the conflict. It's adding fuel to fire in certain cases. The trend or the direction that the state would first take is military action, and that's where people come in handy. Effective, and I'm not making this up, right? You got to look at the changes, and here we deal with facts and figures, and we talk based on facts, not made up stuff. So effective Jan 2026, mandatory screening for all 18-year-old men. Discussion on permission requirements for men up to 45 to immigrate during security crisis. So if you haven't already left, and if you are below 45, well, a lot of you are, I know my stats, a lot of my channel viewers are between 35 and 45, and if you haven't left already, there's discussion already where you may not be, or let's not say may not be, but they're going to review these type of cases. So, but obvious, you want a plan B, you want a second nationality so you can defend yourself, you can protect yourself if you don't believe in this type of concept. The physiological impact of a shifting geopolitical stance towards militarization. This is the one that I was talking about earlier. Exceedingly, it's going more towards military inclusion, and people, the men, are the first ones to go inside. This all makes a lot of impact. Number 5 is a very important one. It is the surveillance state that is being created. Intrusive privacy. This affects a lot of expats. New digital laws increasing state access to personal, financial, communication data under the guise of security. So yes, there'll be a situation where the security is escalated, right? You have security concerns because guess what? The state is fighting wars. So yes, there is a need for more security. And the first insight that we want to take is from its own people. Monitor their finances. Where's the cash flowing? Why is it flowing? What is the communication? What are the data communications? So to catch one or two bad actors, everyone's data comes into question and the data collection becomes prime importance. Draconian policy, political debates focusing on restrictive migration and speech laws leading to a sense of social exclusion. Number 3 is the bureaucracy, opaque administrative hurdles that make it nearly impossible for high-skilled non-EU citizens to fully integrate in the society. And let's look at this chart and compare, right? As I said, this channel is about comparing facts and figures and looking at the data. Germany is one of the highest tax paying states. It's actually not even 45. It can go up to 47, 48%. It's right up there with Belgium. Belgium has crossed all limits possible, shot up to 53 in a lot of cases. So it is crazy. And you do see that graph of the US hovering at 28, and you might think, well, it's not that high of taxes, but think about it again. Think about the property taxes that you pay as compared to other states or other countries, and think about the health care that you have to pay out of pocket, the deductibles and all those things. So if you put everything together as a package, it crosses the 50 mark. So don't get fooled by these stats. But we're talking about Germany, and you can clearly see what's going on. Now, this is the bad stuff. This is the stuff that is affecting you. This is the stuff that's bothering you, and that's the reason why you're trying to escape Germany. And if you are one of those people, what are the options? I think one of the poorest options, and again, this is not legal immigration or tax advice. I'm not bad mouthing any program. We do those programs, but I think a passport like Sao Tome and Principe. What are the pros? The pros is that it is a legal passport. The cons, what are the cons? The cons are it doesn't have mobility, it doesn't have real access. If you're going to any country, you want a visa-free access, because the hardest challenge is going to be, what is a German trying to do using an African passport or trying to get visas? You're going to get denied in some cases, or most cases, in my opinion. Again, this is not legal or immigration advice. I'm just talking based on how I think, or what I think about these options. So getting an African passport, especially a one like Sao Tome and Principe, for travel to get visas, in my opinion, is a bad idea. Getting it just for a mental backup is okay. That's the pro. So you want a passport that is rock solid, that gives you the visa-free access to the right countries. You want a passport from a zero tax country,
to do
preferably.
both, sequence them both on the same trip. How much time does it take to get residency in Uruguay versus Paraguay? This is an important one. I get this asked all the time.
Yes, it's possible. Actually, we suggest to start always with Uruguay, because in Uruguay they don't keep the documents, but in Paraguay, yes, they do. So you come to Uruguay, we start the process in Uruguay, and then you can jump into Paraguay. And in Paraguay, yes, your documents will remain
Preferably,
there.
When
the
you
one
are
option that has truly hit the headlines and created a big storm is the Turkish passport. It's effectively free, and you get it in. It could be effectively free. Of course, you could spend money. It all depends upon how you structure it. I'm going to discuss this in a bit. But you could get this passport in 7 to 8 months, right? Approximately on an average, by purchasing a property in Turkey for 400K. So not a bad price to purchase your own property. We have teams in Turkey that focus on properties that not just qualify for the citizenship, but also retain its value over time. So one team for the property, the other team for the legal stuff, and it's all in-house. At any point you are interested, you can click the link, you can book a call, we can have a quick chat and decide this option and get you started if you're interested. So the Turkish CBI is the best CBI even for a German, I feel, in today's day and age. There's nothing to lose. If you do the right investment, if you retain the value in your property, then tomorrow the passport is effectively going to be free. What is the country? A lot of people won't stay in Turkey full time. There's a tax holiday that Turkey has launched, a 20-year tax holiday. That's what made this so special. So even if you, let's say, live in Turkey, you don't need to, but let's say you live for some time, you're never going to trigger a tax residency because you're not going to have, or you're not going to structure any taxation in Turkey. Once you exit the German tax system, then Turkey could be one option for you to play with. And the option that I'm going to discuss in this video, or the main highlight of this video, is the access that the Turkish passport has, the Uruguay access. You can go to Uruguay visa free, and this is important because any country nationality, any passport that has a visa free access to Uruguay, they can directly apply for a permanent residency in Uruguay. And we, as I said, we have a specialized team in Uruguay that manages this entire thing end to end. In 3 days you are in and out of Uruguay, and eventually you get a permanent residency. After a few months you get the final cards, you leave with your interim cards, then you get the final cards, and then you have a permanent residency in Uruguay. Uruguay has an excellent tax holiday as well. So you have a tax holiday in Turkey for 20 years. You have a tax holiday in Uruguay. You absolutely aren't going wrong if shit hits the fan. Uruguay is one of the best countries I would go to. Anyone would go to. Your family would love to go to Uruguay because it's a friendly country, friendly immigration, no political drama. The government isn't coming for you like in some of the draconian states. So you'll have a happy life, you'll have a good life. And Turkey provides the foil, the foundation, the passport that's diversified. So a German having a Turkish passport adds diversity, adds strength, adds solidity to your profile. And having Uruguay as the actual place to go move your funds to obviously makes a lot of sense. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this combination in 2026 and moving forward? And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.